cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's time again to cherish all the time you spend, you tuned in to. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host Slash, Freddie G, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. What's up, fellas? Welcome to another True Tuesday episode. Today, man, I wanted to kind of, I know last week we were talking about respect, but we pretty much focused on the parental and the child respect factor, and today's topic is kind of on the respect in the workplace. That was a story that came out last week, I think the latter part of last week, where a McDonald's employee, 26-year-old McDonald's employee in Michigan, had unalived her manager.
Wow.
Now, I did see a couple of posts from this employee, and she was pretty much ranting and raving about how this manager was in regards to how she was treating her employees. Basically stating that, if she was having a bad day, she would pretty much be taking it out on her employees and more or less just treating them bad. Now, I always feel that there are three sides to every story, so we were just getting one side. And it was said that, while this McDonald's employee was making these posts that she was making, she was utilizing the Chucky filter, so I'm not sure what role that played, if any, but they just made it a need to mention that she was using a Chucky filter, which I probably think they utilized that or used that to make it sound a little more dramatic, the story more dramatic than what it was. But the manager was 39 years old and had been an employee at McDonald's for the last 15 years, and she was a mother of 6 kids. Now, it was said that that day they had a verbal dispute, going back and forth, and the manager ended up sending her home. So I think between the time that she was sent home and the time that she had returned was when she started making these posts, social media posts, ranting and raving about the manager, and she was just going left. But by chance, any of you guys seen any of those posts?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
no,
yeah.
I haven't.
No, not on the McDonald's, but I've seen plenty of posts about other jobs.
Yeah, she was pretty much going in on this manager. So later on is when I actually saw the story about her going back to the job and stabbing the manager. Now I still didn't really. It's hard to believe certain things you see on social media because you see all types of stories, and
Right.
with AI nowadays, you don't know what can be, altered or whatnot. But the next morning, I actually happened to see this story on the news, which to me was confirmation that it was actually a true story. So in the subsequent investigation, it revealed that, like I said, there had been a dispute, and the suspect had returned to the restaurant. Now, while the stabbing was occurring, there was a customer in the drive-thru that actually had a firearm, to which they fired a shot, and I believe this is what probably got the assailant off of the manager and stopped her from stabbing. And she tried to flee the scene, but the person that shot the gun, and no one was shot, by the way.
Yeah.
The person that shot that gun was able to kind of keep her. And until the officials had arrived. Now, as I mentioned earlier, how there are three sides to every story. This employee, we don't know what she was going through. So I'm not justifying her actions, but she could have been having mental issues that was never addressed. And the manager obviously didn't detect or read her employee to see, okay, this employee may be having problems, to where her demeanor and her treatment towards this employee could have been different. to where I think this outcome probably could have ended up a whole different way.
Right.
Now I feel this employee also could have expressed her concern on the way that this manager may have been speaking to her, but you know how it is with our people, I hate to say, and it's not just our people, but we deal with our people more or less than we do others, and we know how we could. It's all about the delivery, and if you're saying something wrong, it could be reciprocated the same way that you're speaking it or saying it. And I'm thinking, even if this employee, expressed her concern on, or lack of concern on the way this manager was speaking to her, she probably did it, in a fucked up way. So the manager wasn't going to change her tone or her demeanor towards this employee. Now, on the flip side, we do know that we have people that when they get a certain position of authority, they don't know how to handle it, or they take it then and they can abuse it. And that could be looked at as well. And I'm sure that will be part of the investigation. But as far as the respect level when you're at work, I feel like you should treat your employees the way you would want them to be, the way you want to be treated. Right. But at the same time, if they're working for you or under you, you definitely want to. I feel like I always had the mentality that if you take care of your employees, they'll take care of you. Right. So with the issues that it sounded like this McDonald's was having with the manager, you're only as good as your leaders. So if she was having all of these problems, I think it could have been addressed on a higher level. McDonald's is just like any other job. It may not be your Fortune 500 company or anything like that, but their employees are just as important as any white collar job that you may be going on and working on, and they deserve that same respect. Right. Just because it's a fast food joint don't mean that they should be treated any lesser. Is that a word, lesser?
It's one day on the 52 Scott podcast.
They should be treated any less. Again, they're trying to make a living just like everyone else. And like I said, this woman had been on this job for 15 years. Now, why she was on this job for 15 years, that's her. But it was her. Yeah. That was her way of making a living.
So, this is the employee. It's been there 15 years.
No, the manager that has been unalive was there for 15 years. The mother of 6.
All right.
And again, like I said, this was her bread and butter, and this is how she made a living.
Right.
But I was speaking on the respect level and how it this could have been addressed way before it got to this level. And I was just trying to show or give examples on where the employee could have addressed the situation before it got to the point to where she wanted to react in the manner that she reacted in. And I also kind of gave examples on how I felt the manager should have handled the situation if she saw or if she had read this employee and saw that this employee was feeling some type of way, negative way at that.
Now, let me ask this question. Did they give the age of the employee?
Yeah.
She was 26 years old. The one that did the unaliving was 26, and the manager that was unalive was 39.
39 and
well,
26.
I will say this. I worked at a couple of fast foods when I was younger. And again, I'm not condoning what the employee did by unaliving anybody. But I have been in a situation, one of the fast food restaurants was a chicken place. I don't want to name the name. But they had a manager there. And it was three employees total plus her, which made 4 whenever we come into the shifts. But she treated me like the stepchild. Like, I don't know why. This lady was just extra mean. I don't know, because she was pregnant. I don't know what it was. But she let the other 2 do their homework and do whatever they wanted to do. But I cooked the chicken, cleaned the chicken, served the rest. I was just like the what you call it, a Cinderfella.
Black sheep.
Cinderfella. Yeah, she treated me like dirt, and she let the other ones do their homework, and they still doing that time I was in high school. So she let them do their homework while I couldn't do mine, but I had to do all the work. And they up there chilling, and I'm doing everything. So after a while, it could wear on somebody, but not to the point where you want to unalive anybody. No, it shouldn't have done it. You should just quit.
Okay, in your situation, you saw the difference in the way y'all were being treated. So did you mention this at all
to your manager? Because I have no power. as an employee, I have no power. And at 17, I think I was 17. I don't know who to talk to, who to go to, who's over her head. No one else, no other managers, big managers ever came in the store. Had I known, I would have reported her. But I was 17. I was like, she the manager.
At that age, you just have to have a job, but you really don't know the pros and cons or how to handle shit, when it gets to that level. I can understand that.
Yeah.
This young lady, though, the one that was on the live, she started when she was probably around 24 or 25. So I'm sure she could relate to this 26-year-old, especially if she was going through a lot, depending on what she had going on in her life. But that's the point I'm making right there. These people are working for her or under her, and if she's trying to, make a certain type of impression to her superiors, you want to, like I said, you want to take care of your people. But if she's talking to them, talking down on them, and complaining about everything that they're doing, which I believe this young lady was saying in some of the rants that she was giving, that she felt like nothing she did was right. So in the midst of making her go home, you cutting her hours short. So if by chance she's someone that's living paycheck to paycheck,
yes,
you're adding stress to the already stress that she may be going through. So again, this is not justifying her actions whatsoever, because there's never, I don't think there's ever a reason for anybody to do anything to this magnitude.
See, the girl might have felt like that lady was picking on her.
So most definitely.
And it could have probably have very well been a situation like that.
Let me look at it from a different angle, right? And again, not justifying anybody's action, but something to think about. What if the 26-year-old wasn't a good employee? What if she didn't clean properly when it was time to clean up? What if she didn't take the proper steps to prepare certain things when it was time to prepare?
So what they have for that is corrective action.
Yeah, that's what.
And I get where you're going, but this is far beyond corrective action. And the reason why I say that is because if they had that girl on corrective actions, it wouldn't have got to this point, because if she kept not cleaning and not doing what she's supposed to do, they'd have fired her.
Yeah, but hear what I'm saying though. I get it. What I'm saying is, looking at it from a different angle, what if the girl didn't do things properly? What if she wasn't closing storing the food properly, having the food at the right temperatures, or whatever it is? And so her managers, bosses, and upper management comes in and they look at how the restaurant is ran. And they get on the manager and say, hey, this is not at the right temperature. This is wrong. This is wrong. This is wrong. And so she goes back to her employees and say, hey, y'all got to step up and do this right, do this, this, and this. And so, your area, your station is always messed up. They always saying this, and this, and this. So instead of, hey, you need to make sure you do this and this. I'm not going to write you up today. I'm not going to write you up. But I'm telling you got to do better. So she's not doing better. Instead of firing her, she cut her hours and say, you know what? I'm not going to write you up because that may get you fired. I'm not going to fire you. I'm going to just cut your hours, but you know that you got to get better. And so that could be a situation, because I can tell you a lot of times, and this ain't me taking sides and nothing like that, but I can tell you that if you are a manager, and I'm looking at certain individuals for a reason, if you are a manager of something, and you have a team of people, you can try to be as nice as you can to people. You can give them chance after chance after chance after chance. And at some point, it's going to make you angry. And now you're going to be like, okay, either I'm going to fire this person, but I don't want to cut their livelihood and their money off. But hey, how do I get this person to understand that, hey man, you got to do better. Especially if y'all got a rapport to where y'all can talk to one another straight up.
And right there is where the problem's at, because obviously these two didn't have that conversation.
They had a conversation, but they didn't have that rapport.
The rapport wasn't there, and the conversation didn't go well.
Right.
Because before it gets to that point, if you are a professional manager in a management position, your profession is to be able to deal with disgruntled employees,
as well as
the
customers,
and as well as the workers that you don't have to say nothing to. You got to know how to be the mediator, and keep everything down to where it's not escalated. You have to de-escalate. This is what your job is.
Right.
And when you cannot do that with your employee, you failed as a manager. And that's what she did. She failed as a manager, I think.
Go ahead.
I think, and I'm just saying, I think that she failed as a manager because all of these things we talked about that this employee could have encountered at this job, everything we said, I agree with. I just feel like because I've been a manager before.
Right.
And I've had issues with people that worked under me. And I would go and address it right then, that minute. But I wouldn't come to them in a rude form. I'd come to them as a human, hey man, I hear you over there talking about me. I'm gonna pull you over here so me and you talking now. Whatever it was you said to impress them over there that I heard you say, now you talking directly to me, and I heard you. So you can't bite your tongue. Now I'm not gonna bite mine, but I'm gonna come to you as a man, bro. That's not what I want to hear. Not going back over there and do your job. I'm not going to get upset with you. I'm just telling you, I heard what you said.
I heard what you said. That didn't bother me. Yeah.
That didn't bother me. But what you're doing is you disrupting these other people from doing their job.
Right. Distract you.
And now
give them a thought process that they probably don't need to have.
And now, because I don't know how they feel about me. And y'all all may feel the same way. But what they saw was me call you over immediately after hearing this and saying, hey, this is what we gonna do. This not gonna linger on. This not gonna go on till tomorrow. This stops right here.
Right.
Bro, I just heard what you said.
Nip it in the bud right then and there.
But I'ma just tell you, you got a job to do and I got a job to do. I'm doing mine. Now what I need you to do is go back over there and do yours. See, it's the way you handle people. I didn't get no attitude, I didn't cuss the man out. But it could have went a whole different way. He could have got upset, or I could have came at him wrong. Man, why are you talking about me? I didn't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's a professional position, and I think any manager knows. Bro, let me tell you something. An employee does not shoot the manager unless the manager got out of line with the employee some kind of way.
Some kind of way.
I disagree. I mean, again, we don't really know the mindset of this employee because the manager could have been a decent manager, and it could have just been with this employee that that she didn't get along with. Now, if that was the case, and again, keep in mind these are all speculations that we're saying right here. Now, the employee could have been one of those employees that didn't respect her manager as a manager.
Well,
and when the manager was reprimanding her on whatever, or
she couldn't take the criticism.
She wasn't taking the criticism and was reacting in a certain way, which kind of escalated the situation, or could have escalated the situation. Right. And this is when the manager could have decided, hey, okay, you need to go home. Because it got out of hand.
This one here is two things that's kind of confusing about the situation. Like Freddie G, you said earlier, they'll cut your hours if you're not a good employee. So if you did say she got her hours cut, right?
Well, she was at home, so she's not working a full day.
Right. So that's one thing. So maybe the manager was doing her job by, hey, I'm gonna send you home, cut your hours, whatever. What makes the story crazy is because if you're gonna off somebody or unalive somebody, you usually gonna shoot them, right? But if you stabbing, it's more personal to me.
Yeah,
it's more personal. I need to be up and close, and I need to show you what I'm feeling. So it could have been ongoing issues. When you personally stab somebody, that means I want to put my hands on you and watch you. Leave this.
I'm gonna do this myself.
Yes,
is what that says.
So to me, it was something more personal if they're stabbing.
To me, I think the only thing that may help this young lady's case is if other employees can verify and confirm that she was this type of manager, right? To where she picked on us.
And even at that point, she may not get a full sentence. She's still gonna end up doing some time.
She'll do some
guilty.
time.
Yeah.
Now she might. I mean, if it's her first offense, she could possibly get off with like 10 years.
Murder.
Super.
I'm just saying there'll probably be a little more lenient towards her
a little lenient.
if
She'll
they're
get
able to
5 or 6 years, something
prove
like
that,
that. Yeah.
you know, this manager was this type of manager. You know, and she was a manager for a reason. You know, like I say, she had been there 15 years, so she had gone through the chain. You know, she worked her way up basically.
Yeah.
But it does take a special person to be able to deal with a lot of times in these type of jobs, adolescents.
Yeah.
You know, you know how these youngsters are.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about this on previous shows on how, you know, customer service is not like it used to be back in the day. So who do you fault in those situations? Because a lot of times we're dealing with youngsters or teenagers, and these are the type of jobs that teenagers actually start off on. So they're learning at the same time as well as they're earning. But they feel that because they have the job, they're that sense of entitlement somehow, some way is brought to the job.
I've noticed younger people on jobs and their demeanor about the job.
They're not taking it serious.
Yeah, exactly. It's completely different from somebody that know that they have to work for a living. You know, so it's man, this is really a horrible situation.
You just hit the nail on the head though.
He did.
When you said, you know, I think those that don't take the job serious are the ones that possibly maybe still living at home with their parents.
Right.
So you know, they're not taking their job serious, and the money that they're making, they're able to spend it on whatever the hell they want to spend it on.
So
versus
they still have no, you know, structure in life.
And kids are not working. I was just, since we talked about McDonald's, I was just, right before we started, I was watching a clip on IG. There's a lady in South Carolina. She's the manager at a McDonald's. And for the last 2 days, she's been there alone because the kids, they
don't want to work.
They don't want to work.
Yeah.
So she's been in there running 12-hour shifts by herself.
Wow.
She's older lady. Look, she's maybe about 34, 35,
Man,
36. But no one's in there with her. It's just her.
And you know what's crazy? For her to still be there by herself.
Yeah, she is in there.
Because what I'm gonna say, I'm not working for this company in here by myself. I'm not gonna do it. If they not showing up for work, hey, I'm not either, because I'm not finna do it.
Yeah, shut that location down, because just imagine the stress and the pressure she's under.
Yeah,
working all by
you
herself.
gotta cook. You gotta do the
think about
register.
that
You
shit.
gotta clean the.
You gotta bag it up.
You gotta
That's too
clean
much.
it.
I'm not coming today either.
Yeah.
Call the general manager
That's it.
and
I
say,
ain't coming
you
today."
need to get 5 or 6 people down here with me today, or I'm going home.
Yeah, but she said no one. That the kids don't want to work.
Yeah, see, I'm not gonna
Kids
play
don't
that
wanna
game.
Look at it this way too. Some of these kids that are on these youngsters that are on these jobs, they don't respect authority.
Facts.
The authority figures that's appointed over them. And so if you come from, in my opinion, if you come from a home structure to where you respect your mom or your dad, if your dad is living in the home with you, and you respect them by cleaning your room, taking the trash out, doing your chores around the house, even if you don't feel like it, even if it pisses you off that day, that you playing your game or doing whatever you do, and you don't feel like it, but you're not fit to talk back to mama, you're not fit to talk back to daddy, you fit to get up, take that trash out, you fit to clean that room, and you're gonna do what you do, and the reason why is because you respect authority. So now when you go to that job, and you got this manager over you telling you, hey, you need to clean your station. You need to do this. You need to make sure this area done. Don't leave here without letting me inspect what you've cleaned. You may be ready to go.
Yeah.
But you're going to do what you're told because you respect the authority that's appointed over you. And some of these youngsters don't respect the authority that's appointed over them.
That's a great point, Freddie G. They don't respect the authority or respect the job itself. I think another reason they may not respect the authority is if it's someone that's around the same age as them, you know, a peer or something that just happens to be doing much better at the job than they are, to where they've been promoted to that position that has a little more authority.
Exactly.
They don't take them serious.
Yeah, or they think, oh, that's my friend.
Yeah, so,
they don't.
I mean,
they can't separate the friendship from the supervisorship.
Yeah. But this certainly is an unfortunate incident, man. I'm sure this 26-year-old had, it's unfortunate on both sides, because, again, this 39-year-old manager was a mother of 6. I don't know the ages of the kids. I know, I think a couple of them were pretty grown, but they were already adult age, I'm going to say. But at the same time, I'm sure this 26-year-old has a family that is going to be affected by this as well, because she's definitely about to serve some time once this go to trial, I'm sure. But for those out there, man, that are holding a certain position that has authority, like I said, if you take care of your people that's working for you, I feel like in return they'll make sure that the job is being done as it should to your satisfaction, to make you look a certain type of way in a positive light. But you never know what a person is also going through, so be kind and mindful that we all possibly could be going through something, and just try to read somebody, and if you see that they may be having issues or could be having issues, there's nothing wrong with pulling them aside and talking if you're on that managerial level. But talking at your employees definitely won't get anything done the way you want if you're talking at them versus talking to them. I appreciate y'all joining us, man. Y'all come back next week. Peace out. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for another episode of Women Wednesday with Freddie G. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. And to all my 52 Scott faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.